This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Thank you for being with us today. Jamie, they're expecting a sold-out crowd. I wonder what the split will be between the Red Raider faithful and the Houston Cougar patrons.
I'm sure you'll see a lot of Red Raiders there. I don't know that it'll be 50-50, but I think you'll see a lot of Red Raiders there.
Okay. 60-40? 70-30? I mean, how
maybe
many?
70-30, maybe.
You know, could there be football fever there in Houston for the Cougars, Jeff?
No. Do I think it could be 70-30? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Anything really stand out for you with Coach McGuire yesterday?
He was short.
Yeah.
And that's probably a testament to that he answered a lot of questions very quickly, and got to the point of those questions. And there weren't many questions off the bye week that we were sitting with. Like, what was our big question? How's Baron Morton?
Yeah.
What do we expect to see from Houston? What are you guys doing about the penalties and the silent count? That was like the first 5 minutes of his 5-6 minutes of his press conference. Mm-hmm. And then it was everybody trying to get a coach to say something for their news stories. Which I'm sorry, the coach isn't there to fill your news story, but whatever. We've all asked questions regarding something we're interested in.
Sure.
So I'm not like frustrated with any of them. Yeah. I'm frustrated that they were frustrated they didn't get an answer they liked. But it was like normally Joey talks for 30 minutes. We were done in 17.
17. Okay, that was the number. Okay, yeah, it was like you said. It was pretty quick. He said, I thought was kind of interesting his thoughts on for Houston and Oregon State because of the common opponent. He said it was a good game to watch. He said, with them getting down early and then coming back, he said it says a lot about them, from a road standpoint. Something to watch out for is they did block 2 field goals. So, that's something to maybe kind of keep in mind as and hopefully you're not relying on field goals to get you in that spot, to get you a win. But, extra points are also available to be blocked. So he said that could be something to kind of take a look at. He was really high on their 2 defensive tackles and their corners. So he feels like that they've got to be able to run the ball to be successful. And they also have a big tight end. It's a big target, 6'7" tight end. Mm-hmm. So it's not maybe it's not the Houston that we've been accustomed to. They're better. I'm not saying that they're going to be a problem, but they got players too.
I think if you play poorly, you can lose this game.
Yes, I will agree with it. If you walk in there and shoot yourself in the foot with penalties and turnovers and play stupid football, you will win stupid prizes, which is a loss.
Yeah, they're good enough to beat you if you play bad.
Mm-hmm. I guess the one interesting thing was when he was asked about what does after making a 56-yard field goal, what does Stone have to do to actually be named the starter? And he's like, he's got to do it again. Like there was a level of comedy there that the kickers are still listed as after a 56-yard field goal.
Yeah, which
his response was funny.
Yeah, but it's odd, right? I mean,
it is odd.
He's the one taking the kicks.
Yeah. So it seems like that's fait accompli. The other thing that was interesting from yesterday was that he said that they've got 7 to 8 guys that are on multi-year deals, including Will Hammond. So they're not necessarily worried about Will going to some other team because he's kind of showcased himself in a couple of games and stood out, and that they're working on X number of others on on multi-year deals, which is, I guess that keeps them from transferring, Jamie, because you would think that if they did leave, that there'd be some kind of clawback on money, that somebody would have to scratch out a check, and maybe at some point in time, another team says to that player, well, we really want you, so we're going to pay that $100,000 for you. And some other team's going to write a check to Texas Tech. I mean, I'm sure that's going to happen at some point in time.
I think it's smart that Texas Tech is trying to do what they're doing with the multi-year deals, but and I don't fear a whole bunch this program losing guys. But I also absolutely believe if a kid wants to go, you're going to let him go. He's going to go some way or another. Whether that means he's got to pay money back or whether that means he just doesn't get the rest of his contract. I have a hard time thinking there's going to be some judge that listens to this case and says, nope, you can't play for Alabama. You have to stay at Texas Tech. And Texas Tech's going to be like, yep, haha, you have to come play with us. And this kid's going to be like, well, I guess I'm going to have a great attitude and go stay and play at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen.
Sure, yeah.
What's going to happen is they're going to find a way for the kid to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing that's interesting too is you're going to get to a point here in the next couple of weeks where you're halfway through the season, et cetera, and players are going to play their way on to or off of rosters, kind of moving forward. Depending on injuries and depending on level of play and things along those lines. As they're evaluating for next year, they're not quite to that process yet, but I think that's going to be interesting to see, as well as what kind of happens along those lines. So anyway, it's a different world, obviously, that we're in with all of this. So it'll be fascinating, interesting. I'm curious about some of that stuff, and some of that stuff I
would not use any of those words.
I would rather not know.
Yeah, I did not use any of those words.
But Chuck, you did use all of those words.
I did, right? I used them all.
And you said you would rather not, but you did.
Well, there's sometimes you don't want to see how the sausage is made. Sometimes.
I never want to see how the sausage is made. I want to see how it's cooked.
Sometimes I get overly curious, and that gets me sometimes in.
Just like I don't love talking about coaches' monies, I love even less talking about players' monies.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. 6:40 this morning on the Morning Drive. This day in sports history is next on Double T 97.3. Baseball this afternoon and tonight, wild card style on 100.7 The Score. And sandwiched in between it is high school fan zone tonight with coaches from Monterey and Coronado. And those two teams play each other on Friday night over at Lowry Field.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
30 days past September, November, never mind.
30 days has November, April, June, and September. All the rest have 31 except for February. It's short some.
Thank you.
I never learned that song.
Yeah, thank you.
There's also the knuckle trick.
The knuckle trick.
I use that one. I use.
Yeah.
Where the top of the knuckle goes 31, and you go across, and then you double up to go back. Because July and August both have 31.
Yeah. Again, you're our 1%er.
Oh, I don't think those are 1%er things.
No, I know, but I mean, you've kind of filled the void here. More often than not.
1927. Yankee slugger Babe Ruth smacks his Major League Baseball then record 60th home run off Tom Zachary in the 8th inning of the Yankees' 4-2 win over the Senators at Yankee Stadium. 1972. Pittsburgh right fielder Roberto Clemente doubles off Mets' John Matlock to become the 11th player to record 3,000 hits. Pirates beat New York 5-0.
That would be his last hit, too.
I didn't put that in there. I was trying to stay positive after yesterday.
I know, but I mean, it's true. It would be his last hit.
1984. California Angel Mike Witt pitches a perfecto against the Texas Rangers, winning 1-0.
Don't like that guy.
Don't like that guy?
Did he become a Yankee at some point in time?
And who was he traded for?
Oh, he was traded for Dave Winfield.
Dave Winfield, yeah. Sorry.
Well, Jamie should like this one a little bit better. 1997, New York Yankees' Tim Raines, Derek Jeter, and Paul O'Neill are the first to hit 3 home runs consecutively in the postseason in an 8-6 win over the Cleveland Indians.
It's better. Much better.
And I know he likes this one, without hesitation. 2006, Robert Johnson's third touchdown catch from Graham Harrell with 26 seconds left gives Texas Tech a 31-27 win over the Fighting Texas Aggies.
Oh, there we go.
I think I've told the story before. I was in Brenham that day calling Tyler Junior College facing off with the Blinn College Buccaneers.
Okay.
And Blinn Darren Moore was on that team who played for the Red Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Blinn just annihilated the Apaches 51-3, and this was one of those games where I was doing the sidelines, and I had my earbud in listening to the Tech game while calling the Tyler Junior College game. And so we go to the post-game show. The games are almost ending nearly at the same time. Okay. And we go to the post-game show, and I ask the coach, I say to the coach, 51-3, I said, was this a situation of lack of effort, lack of execution, or a combination of both? And he says to me, sounds like you answered your own question, and he walks away. So he's mad. That was my first question. Okay. So he's mad. He's mad. So he walks away, and I go up to the press box, and 2 guys I'm calling the game with, the guys that are in the booth, they're in there finishing up the post game show, and I'm sitting outside. Actually, there was no seats, so I was sitting on the floor, just breathing so heavily, just so excited about our win, about Texas Tech's win. Okay, I was so excited. I'm just out of breath with excitement, just wanting to scream and yell, and I can't. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I can't. And one of the guy comes out of the booth, and he's like, "Hey man, don't be sad, don't be upset because he didn't answer your question. He got mad, or he's just mad because he lost the game. Don't feel bad about." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't care what that guy said. I don't care what some junior college coach said. We just came back to beat the Aggies. That's all I care about." And they're like, "Oh man, we thought you were down out here." I was like, "Nah, man, I'm excited. I just can't breathe." I was so excited.
It is National Mulled Cider Day. If you're wondering what mulled cider is, mm-hmm. It's usually a warm, spiced beverage made primarily by heating apple cider with a blend of spices and citrus fruit. A popular seasonal drink.
Are you a sipping cider kind of guy?
I can sip cider. It doesn't gross me out or anything like that, but I'm never going to choose it. But it's kind of fun, once a year, once every other year. Kind of in the fall.
I like a cold glass of apple cider. I don't care for it warm.
Yeah, I can take either. Just apple juice.
That's kind of where I'm going with that.
Well, there's apple cider, too. There's apple cider that's cold.
Okay. T-Pain, 41. Fran Drescher is 68. And Jenna Elfman, who was Dharma from Dharma and Greg, is 54.
God, that was a strange show.
Yes, but it was supposed to be. That was the nature of that show. Was the entire show was fish out of water.
Yeah.
And on this day, 1955, 24-year-old actor James Dean is killed in California when his Porsche he is driving hits a Ford two-door sedan at the intersection. Only one of Dean's movies, East of Eden, had been released at this time of his death. Rebel Without a Cause and Giant opened shortly afterwards. But he was already on his way to stardom, and the crash made him a legend. The driver of the other car, 23-year-old California Polytechnic State University student Donald Terpspeed, was dazed but mostly uninjured. Dean's passenger, German Porsche mechanic Rolf Wurstrich, no way I got that right, was badly injured but survived.
Okay.
And that is this day in sports history.
Stay in sports history. Thank you, Jeff. 6:51 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We talked about Willie Mays and his catch in the World Series, the 51 World Series, off of Vic Wirtz. yesterday they finished up a auction of some of his items, personal collection, $6.5 million netted after a couple of days. 944 items from Willie Mays. This is per his wishes. And this is pretty cool, though you kind of wonder if some of those things shouldn't have gone to a museum somewhere, but maybe their own personal museum for the people that bought them. But all the proceeds go to delivering education, training, and health services for youth through his Say Hey Foundation, which Mays founded in year 2000. So it wasn't money that his family was netting or things like that. It went to serve a good purpose.
That's cool.
But among the things that were sold was his MVP award from 1954, his Silver Slugger Award. I guess it was the 54 World Series. I think that's right. His World Series ring, that went for $458,250. His uniform that he wore during the All-Star game in 1962. They say, and possibly the World Series. From the 65 season, his MVP, his Babe Ruth Sultan of SWAT Award. So he had a lot of stuff, including Stutz Black Hawk 6, which was built for him, and it includes a placard that says "Built for Willie Mays," and then signed Willie Mays documents. It sold for $45,000. It was from 1977. And then he had a Presidential Medal of Freedom that he was awarded by President Obama back in 2015. That was sold as well. So anyway, all that money going to his foundation and will serve a good purpose.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. You were talking in This Day in Sports History about a game that you did with Tyler and Blinn Junior College back in the day. Willie Fritz was a head coach at Blinn at one point in time in his career.
Okay.
So he spent time as a head coach at Tulane, Georgia Southern, Sam Houston State, Central Missouri State, and Blinn.
What years was he at Blinn?
93 to 96.
Yeah.
Those
were my times here, so I wasn't there then.
Yeah, you had missed him. Won a couple of national titles at Blinn in 95 and 96. So, and his dad was a head football coach too back in the day. So he's been around. He's an older guy in comparison to Coach McGuire and some of these other Big 12 coaches. When he came into the Big 12, he's 65. So. He's not like an old man, but that's a little bit older than when you come in and get your first big Power 4 job like that.
Sure, no doubt.
So Coach Joey McGuire was asked about the false starts and how they're addressing the false starts, especially those that came from the Utah game, and here's his thoughts on that.
One thing we spent all week, and I wish we'd have done it the week before, we spent all week working our silent count and perfecting that. We've got to get better at that. We're going to play in a hostile environment. I'm sure Houston's going to be a loud place, and we've got to go to Arizona State. That's going to be a loud place to play. K-State, it's a great environment, and so that's one thing that we looked at. And then, continuing to take the ball away, continue to punching at the ball and creating turnovers, and then, offensively keep getting better running the football. I think we've got a strong 1-2 punch in Cam and Jacoby, and I think finding the right run, Coach Cochran and Clay McGuire and Garrett, they all really, looked at that of like, what's the best thing we're doing right now, running the football, and building off of that.
So that's a point of emphasis. Those pre-snap penalties. I mean, they just kill you. They kill your momentum. They kill your play calling. They kill your field position. It's just they're killer, silent killer.
Yeah, they're to me no more or less killer than actual real penalties within the course of the game. I mean the pre-snap ones. I mean penalties. Period. It's not just pre-snap.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah.
All of them kill you.
No, there's no doubt. And
It's not that the pre-snap are more frustrating because they're like, okay, you just weren't prepared here or whatever. But again, all penalties kill you.
Coach Mac Leftwich was asked about it as well, and he said they didn't use the silent count against Utah. He said, at the end, the crowd was, because he was asked about it at the end, did they use the silent count? He's like, well, at the end, the crowd was taken out of the game, so really they didn't need to do that. He said, want to eliminate the pre-snap. We're harping on it, looking at it every day in practice. When people harp on things, that's when you know that it's really irritating to your superior, whether it's your parents or your boss or your spouse. I just remember, like, hey, you don't have to harp on it. Because, like, when you say that back to somebody, hey, you don't really have to harp on it. Because that sometimes gets you in as much trouble for, committing the whatever act that you're committing.
Sure.
It's like, because that's like, it's like you're talking back to your spouse, your parent, your boss, whomever. Well, you don't have to harp on it. I got it. It's like, well, because that's usually a kind of a negative when you're getting harped on, and then when you say, hey, you don't have to harp on it, then it kind of creates some irritation back between both sides.
It's when you should say, well, I would flute it, but it wouldn't make any sense.
Right. I have a tendency to, if somebody's harping on something, hey, you don't have to harp on it.
Right,
and
just use a flute instead.
My tone of voice sometimes is not
it's
probably
a better
as
sounding instrument anyway.
Friendly coming back on that. I don't know if it was Coach McGuire or Coach Leftwich. I think it was McGuire that said this. They talked about the players being, one of the things, being in their stance too long, especially the linemen. And so I think they're going to try to do a better job of not having them set for so long, and maybe that's been one of the things that's causing them a problem of just having to stay in their stance for so long, that creating that little twitch that seems like it doesn't take much to get a motion penalty called on you.
Yeah, maybe that's something that can help. Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of one thing that they're looking at there. 7:20 this morning here on the morning drive. This person says this sounds like this is coming from Coach McGuire. Texas Tech will be ready for Saturday. Okay, Houston will be rushing to stop the throw to stop the scoring. Okay. This, I agree with you, Jamie. It has to be a big game or a rival. You can have a trap game before a rivalry game. Yeah, and we really, this year, when you kind of look at the schedule, I guess your true rivalry game, so to speak, is Oklahoma State. But even that doesn't necessarily feel like a rivalry game this year, given how they've, fired their coach and not really having the best of seasons. And but when you look at Oklahoma State on October the 25th, and then the next week you're playing at Kansas State, depending on how K-State is playing at that point in time, potentially, I guess Oklahoma State could be potentially a trap game that you might look past them to try to win a road game. Potentially, maybe. Mm-hmm. But that's stretching it some, I think. Mm-hmm. So how about this little nugget from the notes, Jamie? Texas Tech will be looking for its back-to-back road wins to start league play for only the second time since 1960. Now, I don't know what year the other time it was.
I wonder how many times you've actually had to play back-to-back road games to start Big 12 play.
That was when we saw that, I was like, that's in the interesting department. Mm-hmm. I just don't know how interesting.
How many times it's been.
Yeah.
I would guess they wouldn't make you do that very often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But still, I mean, that is curious. It just speaks to, one, how difficult it is to win on the road. Mm-hmm. Your opponents in your conference play, whether it was Big 12 or Southwest Conference, because that would go back to Southwest Conference, how difficult that's been, and that every coach probably that's ever coached anywhere, winning on the road is hard. I mean, I don't care if it's
no matter what conference you're in,
or what sport, or what level, if it's pros or college, high school. It's hard to win it's hard to win on the road. So that's I don't know. It's not that was just kind of interesting when you look at that, and also you're trying to keep this streak alive of being undefeated, and you haven't had this long a streak since 2013. So it's been some time since you've had this quote level of success, and it does feel like that this snowball keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of energy of the fans and the community and everybody behind this football team, especially when you think about, already having these sellouts, and your game next week against Kansas is sold out as well, and
the one after that.
Yeah, the one after that.
That's Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Yeah. So
the reason it's snowballing, the reason, right?
Right, because we're winning.
Because there's a 0.
Yes. No,
when
I got it.
When it goes to a 1, you run into a wall and it stops snowballing.
It's kind of disappointing that the bye week, where it came, just to feel like it kind of slowed things down a little bit. So we got to get it ramped back up again this week.
So far, the only thing that stopped the Red Raiders is, the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they were glad to have that bye week because it allowed them.
Absolutely, no question. I'm just talking about the ramping of excitement.
Sure, the fan base and things along those lines.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen, pretty simple question for you here today.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to list off the teams that you still feel like have a legitimate chance to make the Big 12 championship game.
Okay.
So ultimately, I want to see how many we each have.
Okay. Let me just pull up the standings here real quick so I can kind of make sure I'm getting everybody in. I think Iowa State. I think Arizona State. I think BYU. Texas Tech. I think, without looking at schedules, I think Baylor. So, and outside, I'll say Kansas, but they've really, really got to improve defensively. Offensively, they're a good enough team, but defensively, I'm not sure they could stop. I don't even want to insult a team here in town by saying X high school, because I'm not sure they can stop anybody. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll say 5.
Okay.
Texas Tech, Iowa State, BYU. End of discussion.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
3 then, huh?
I have the Red Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
I have Iowa State. I'm keeping Arizona State in there, but just barely.
Mm-hmm.
BYU.
Mm-hmm.
Utah. I'm skipping over Baylor, Kansas, and Kansas State and going all the way down to TCU.
Okay.
Okay. I think Baylor and Kansas are the same team. Both really good on offense, but neither one of them is very good at all on defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that either one of them finds their way into the Big 12 championship game. Same thing with Kansas State. I don't think they do. But I do. TCU should have won that game on Friday night. Their quarterback just laid an egg late in that game. So I'm still giving them a chance that was just a bad game for Josh Hoover, and that they're, despite the fact that they're 0-1, they still have a shot.
Here's what Baylor has left. They have K-State, TCU, Cincinnati, UCF, Utah, Arizona, and Houston. If they beat the purple teams in back-to-back weeks, and they play Utah at home. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to run the table, but they sure could run the table.
If they beat if they beat Kansas State and TCU in back-to-back weeks, I'll change my opinion about Baylor.
The TCU game is at TCU.
At this point, I'm not betting on that.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
But that's...
if Texas Tech lost the next 3 games, I would think I'm changing my mind and saying I don't think the Red Raiders are going to make the Big 12 championship game.
Let's not do that, though.
Yeah,
let's not. No. We don't need to test that theory.
For TCU, this is who they have left. They have Colorado, K-State, Baylor, West Virginia, Iowa State, BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati. Those two games in the first two games for them in November 8th and 15th, are really, really critical for them. Home against Iowa State and at BYU.
I think, some have a little bit tougher, some have a little bit easier. I think that's fair to say. I just think at this point of the season, everybody's got some tough ones left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not however many, let's see how many, there's not 7 layups left for anybody, I would imagine.
No. Kansas has to go to UCF this week, then come here, then K-State, which they've struggled. I mean, they could, in essence, lose 2 of the next 3 games pretty easily and be out of it. Then they host Oklahoma State, at Arizona, at Iowa State, and Utah. That's a really tough schedule.
Kansas and Baylor have to show that they can play defense before they're a legitimate contender.
No, I agree with you, but I mean, that's of the last 3 schools that I've listed, that may be the toughest schedule.
Okay. I didn't have them as a contender.
Yeah, I got you.
Yep.
Let's see. I was going to pull up Iowa State here real quick because we all had Iowa State, right?
Correct.
So Iowa State this week is at Cincinnati. Then they go to Colorado, home against BYU, home against Arizona State, at TCU, home against Kansas, and at Oklahoma State. So they're
home against Arizona State, on the road at TCU. Toughest stretch for them.
Yeah,
those are 2.
Yeah, and then BYU.
I think Utah's the really interesting team just because they have 1 loss at this point, just like TCU does. So there's not a lot of margin for error for those teams. But I'm not certain that Utah is still not one of the top 3 teams in the conference. I think they are. Okay. I don't know that I would say that about TCU or BYU, though.
BYU has West Virginia on Friday. Then they go to Arizona. They're home against Utah. That's a rivalry game, right? At Iowa State, at Texas Tech, home against TCU, at Cincinnati, and home against UCF. So then you look at what the Red Raiders have left. Obviously at Houston, home against Kansas, at Arizona State, Oklahoma State at home, at K-State, home against BYU, home against UCF, and at West Virginia. So is the toughest stretch at K-State and home against BYU, Jamie, for the Red Raiders?
Yeah, I would think so at this point.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's at Utah, at Houston.
Well, okay. Could be. You got at Arizona State thrown in there too, but that's sandwiched in between home games with KU and Oklahoma State. So, let's see, Jamie. They aren't all layups for Texas Tech, but all the shots are coming from the paint. Okay.
It's good. Good basketball referencing there.
Somebody else says their teams: Tech, Iowa State, Utah, Arizona State. Slight outside chance for BYU and TCU.
I think that's my list right there. Yeah, I would put Arizona State in the slight with BYU and TCU. I think it's Tech, Iowa State, and Utah that have the best chance.
Okay.
It's 2 seats at the table and 3 playing Ring Around the Rosie. Which one gets left out?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I like your chances.
The hokey pokey.
I don't think anybody's turning themselves around.
Okay.
And I'm definitely not putting 1 foot in, 1 foot out. No, if my foot's going in, it's staying there.
It's staying there. Okay. In the tire, right?
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
37. Trips on the far side. Harrell back to throw, going deep down the sideline for Robert Johnson. And he got it! Touchdown, Red Raiders! Robert Johnson, touchdown, Red Raiders!
Get off the field. Oh, my.
Can you believe it?
Aggies blitzed. Shannon Woods picked up the linebacker coming from the outside, and Robert Johnson, an unbelievable catch just into the end zone.
That'll get you going a little bit.
John was absolutely right. The block from Shannon Woods, he's on the right side, and he steps across Harrell's front and picks up the blitz on the left side. It's fantastic, but Graham's pass was, it was dropped into a bucket.
Yeah,
man.
Just spot on.
Couldn't have been more perfect. Mm-hmm. Man, we nearly blew that game. We were dominating that game. We fumbled at the goal line. We gave up a kickoff return for a touchdown, I believe. We're dominating the game, and all of a sudden we're losing.
And that was a stay in history, right? Let's send some additional sarcasm on top of the usual sarcasm today. No? Okay.
I don't know.
Just normal amount.
I just know that's one of my favorite Red Raider wins.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that glad Jeff was able to pull that up. And John, get off the field! There must have been some sideline guys that had jumped onto the field.
Yeah.
So, but you're always directing traffic, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Some comments from the Yates flooring.
If memory serves me correctly, that was a game that was not on television.
Yes, I was going to ask you that question, but I believe that you're correct on that.
Yeah.
So
they sold VHS copies of it.
Yeah.
And I bought one.
Okay.
So I do actually have a VCR. I should go watch it tonight. Still do. It's still hooked up and everything.
What we should do is hook that VCR up to a computer, run it through the computer to get you a digital copy of it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So then you could watch it on your phone while you're taking your long drives for the Red Raider baseball team this year.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We have some long drives this year?
Sure.
There's a trip to Arlington.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we drive all over the place.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I mean, and I hate to say this, he's probably going back to New Mexico.
I'm certain that'd be a really good chance. Yeah.
We're going to Albuquerque.
You'll fly. Just
no,
stop.
no. Actually not. The team is busing and
what?
Yeah, team is busing to Albuquerque for that game, and Fink and I are going to drive, and then Fink has to come home, and I'm going to fly with the team to Frisco.
So you at least don't have to go both ways.
Yeah, I don't have to go both ways.
You just have to make one drive.
How are you going to get the car back?
Fink is coming back.
Oh, Fink is coming back.
Fink's coming back, yeah.
You're taking Fink's car. Got it.
Right.
Making Fink chauffeur you around. That's not very nice.
Hey, I'll be glad to drive, but I think Fink kind of shares. Of course, he's ridden with me more than once. I think he probably would share Jamie's sentiment about riding with me. As Jamie's made it clear that he's never going to do that again, right?
Yeah, I'm out on that.
Jamie was trying to figure out what it would feel like because Joyce was talking about a bullet train from here to Dallas, and it's like taking a half an hour. And Jamie's like, I wonder what that would feel like. And I texted him, I'm like, well, just take a ride with me.
I value my life, so I'm good. I'm good with that.
I'm pretty good. I think I'm a pretty good driver.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially at Mach speed.
Chuck thinks he's good at something.
Shocker.
No way.
Shocker.
I need to write this date down.
This day in sports history.
Yeah.
2025.
Somebody says this, oh my, I love John Harris. Yes, he does a great job. No question. No question about it.
That was such an amazing pass.
Let's see here.
I think the texter is right. He thinks that it is on TV. It was on TV. I think the one I'm thinking of was the overtime game with Kingsbury's team
and West.
And Welker's punt return for a touchdown. You're right, texter. You're right.
Yeah.
I got those two confused. Another great win against the Aggies.
Yeah, I know.
At their place.
That 06 game I know was on TV because we saw this on TV.
What did you tell your sophomore quarterback with 2:16 left on the clock?
March down and score. I mean, it's all the A&M Tech games, especially up here, are exciting. This was no exception. Glad we were able to win. I really didn't think we played a particularly good second half, and we missed some opportunities the first half, but glad to get out of here with a win. This is a tough place to do it, and once in a while a pirate can beat a soldier,
I was hoping that's what you're going to have that at the end there, the pirate soldier quote there. Yeah, 8:07.
He was right. We played terrible in the second half. Just terrible. Just nearly just gave it away. But, man, those 3 saved us on that play. That was, Graham's pass was so perfect.
Well, and that just goes to show you, you got to have, great players making great plays and even to help you overcome. And who knows what transpires, in this season, because at some point in time you're going to need great players to make great plays. And it may be... No,
you have already. Right? You needed them to beat Utah.
Yeah,
but your defense made great plays all over the field.
Yeah. But you haven't had a close game yet. I guess is my point.
Your freshman quarterback came in and took a close game and turned it into a blowout.
Yeah,
he made some huge throws.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Douglas made some big catches. And, Yeah.
Jacob Rodriguez. Let's not forget what he did for your defense.
No question. No question.
It was interesting. Sheil Wood was asked about Jacob Rodriguez and yesterday, and he's the defensive coordinator, obviously, for Texas Tech, and he was asked about his skills of punching the ball out, and the some of the guys are really focused on the turnover drill, and Coach Wood just said, Jacob's the best I've ever been around. He had his punch-out skill way before I got here. So he's not taking any kind of credit for Jacob Rodriguez's ability to punch the ball out. He's had that going on. Let's see. Somebody wants to know, how fast will you drive on the 60-mile-per-hour New Mexico roads? I'm not driving. Fink is.
There's so many interesting, going back to the Tech Aggie game, just the story of Robert Johnson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who comes here as a highly recruited quarterback and just does not, appeal to Leach at all, and there's thought of him leaving the program and all that, and all of a sudden he turns into a wide receiver, and then he makes that catch, and then the Shannon Woods saga of a Red Raider-ness where he's sent back from a bowl game on a bus and all that. Just, the stories of the Leach years are just phenomenal. There's just so much there that was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
What a great era. I know we didn't win as much as we wanted to, but it was still so much fun.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.